Welcome to the module on option spreads. Now, what we've arrived at here is really the heart of options trading. If someone tells you that they do a lot with options, you can be sure they're dealing with spreads. And these various kinds of spreads are really the most popular form of options trading. Now, I should say at the outset that there's going to be a lot of terminology in this introductory lecture. So what I would suggest is you just watch it through once. Don't worry too much about all the different terms, and then move ahead in the lectures, watch some other spread lectures. You may need to come back, take some notes on this and review it, but don't be too hard on yourself. There's a lot of terminology, and unfortunately, just one of those things that you have to learn. We can't really talk about option spreads unless we speak a common language. So that's what I'm going to be presenting to you in this lecture. So a spread is basically just two options, two different call options or two different put options. And there are two kinds of spreads. There are call spreads, where you're long a call option and short another call option, so two call options. And then there are put spreads, where you are long a put option and short another put option. So these are the two basic kinds of spreads. They're either built out of two calls or two puts. And in each case, you're going to be long one of the options and short one of the other options. The next distinction we need to make is between credit spreads and debit spreads. Now, a credit spread happens when you collect more premium than you actually pay out. So you're collecting cash up front and you get a credit to your account. A debit spread is just the opposite, as you can imagine. This is when you're paying more premium to put on a spread trade than you're collecting. And as a result, you have to put up cash up front to your account, and there's going to be a debit to your account. In other words, it's going to use up some of your margin. Credit spreads, debit spreads. You can have call credit spreads. You can have call debit spreads. You can also have put credit spreads and put debit spreads, depending whether they're built out of calls or puts. Now, the next distinction is quite easy. Bull spreads and bear spreads. A bull spread is just any option spread that makes money if the stock goes up or if the underlying goes up. You can do a bull spread on crude oil futures. You could do a bull spread on really any underlying security. So bull spread makes money if the stock or security goes up. Bear spread, just the opposite. It makes money if the stock goes down. Now we move on to what are called vertical spreads. Sometimes you'll hear these referred to as money spreads. Most often you'll hear it as vertical spreads. Now the reason they're called vertical spreads is because your options are going to have two different strike prices. So it's basically going to be the same underlying stock, same expiration date, but two different strike prices. So in this case, this is a call spread. You can see a call spread on Apple, and we are buying the Jan 2021 200 call, and we're selling the Apple Jan 2021 205 call. So you can see that vertical spread between 200 and 205. Everything else is the same stock, Apple, same expiration, Jan 2021, just the different strike prices. So that's called a vertical spread. The next type of spread is a horizontal spread, also known as a calendar spread for reasons that you'll hear, or a time spread, which also makes sense. Now this is a little bit different from vertical spreads. Just like vertical spreads, where we have the same stock, the same underlying security. But in this case, we have the same strike price. In the previous example, we had a 200 strike price and a 205 strike price. In this case, you can see these are both Apple calls, but they're both 200 strike prices. And the only thing that's different is a different expiration. That's why it's called a calendar spread, because you're spreading between these two different months. In this case, the calendar spread is between Jan 2021 and March 2021. So that's what a horizontal spread is. Again, a vertical spread, there's a spread between the strike prices. Horizontal spread, you can think of that as being time, the time axis being horizontal, and so there's a spread between the two expiration dates. Finally, I just wanted to give some terms here. We're going to explore these in a later lecture, so you don't have to worry about them too much. Ratio spread is an example where more options are written or sold than are purchased or bought. Ratio spread, you're writing more options than you're buying. Back spread is just the option. Back spread, is just the opposite. You are purchasing more options than you're writing or selling. Finally, a box spread. We're going to talk about this in a later lecture. Just you might hear it, so I wanted to get the term out there. A box spread is just a combination of a bull call spread. In other words, a call spread that profits if the underlying stock goes up, and a bear put spread. A bear put spread profits if the underlying stock goes down. So those are the terms, and I would encourage you just go back, maybe take another look at it, and take a couple notes. Again, we have call spreads, put spreads, credit and debit spreads, bull and bear spreads, vertical spreads, horizontal spreads, and that's really all you need to worry about for now. Ratio spreads, back spreads, we'll cover in a later lecture.